what I call syntactically annotated and verified from the philological point of view. What I mean with this sentence, I mean that what I want that the system receives is the correct one. Because of today, unfortunately, what's happening, and this is every language, young people who want to write SMS or want to write Facebook or want a message, they did the incorrect spelling of everything. Yeah. They don't care anymore what they are writing, so they write, if they make shorter versions of as English, they will remove all vowels, for example. So if we put these mistakes, of course the system will create a mistake. So it should be something that's really verified that at least from the spelling side it's correct and syntactically annotated, because if we want to understand every word where it's coming from. If this is an inflection form of a verb, we need to link the verb with the inflected form. I know that you are not linguists, so probably I will be from now on from time to time using words that have a meaning in the linguistics. But so that one word has maybe 50 other words connected. Sometimes it's linking with the article, sometimes it's the third person or first person or second person, female and male, and so on and so on. All those words that for us is a one word in the root, the system should know, and for that reason, every single word should be annotated and linked with where it's coming from, which is different than the etymology, the meaning of the word, where it's coming from. And this should be, the aim is to put free for everyone, so not only you can contribute, but you can use it. Tomorrow, Microsoft has no any excuse to put word spelling checker for Saho if we provide this. Yeah. They can, actually we are working for free for them, so they can't refuse to have it. Google will not even ask us, they will take it, because we will be put it online, so they will grab but we are happy that they take it. Despite we are putting our energy, resources, money, and we are happy that they take it, because of it will come back to us, and the system will be using it, because of they have the technology and we need to provide the source. And of course, there are so many applications that our future generations need. For example, no more we will use the keyboard. People will speak to the computer. Already Syria started that. You say, call for me, my mother, and the entire home will be automated. You will enter, you will say, switch on the grill, and then it starts. That will be the technology of the next years, and 10 years they are there. Everywhere there will be a robot working. There will not be a force that human being forces, but there will be a robot that working for you. There is a robot cleaning the house, and you need to speak in your own language, that robot. So to do that, you have to have a corpus, well written, well studied. So you will have a robot cleaning the house, and you will say, instead of clean, you will say nadifi, which in Somali, for example, or in Saho language, or your own language. So we need to produce these elements. So those IT elements will be developed by us, because of no one will develop for us if we don't do it. So I bit skip the technological side, but what we need, we collect average, if we collect, I don't know how many words we are here.
4,500 lemmas.
Now, for the Somali, I maintained the numbers in Somali to compare, so we can arrive a big number in so short time. For example, in Somali, I collected 58,860 root words, which was the latest dictionary. We started with a 5,000. The first dictionary, a monolingual, was 5,000, and there has been several publications that came out for the last 40 years. And then the last one has been published in Djibouti 3 years ago, and it contained 58,000 words. And we took all the dictionaries, not only the single first dictionary or the last one that contained that big number, but also the other dictionaries. So when we get the dictionary, if we get in electronic format, it's better. We can automate and put in the system. If it's not available in a file, we will put with people to insert one vowel. Or simply because of you using the system, automatically will collect the information that's missing. And from that Saho dictionary, if we take 4,000, you can compare from 58,000, if we come 6 million words. If we start with 4,000, we may arrive with base of 50,000. Because of it's a small number. Yeah. I have to understand the structure well yet and develop instrument that develops taking the word, expand this and create the word is linked. Then we develop it Saahomorph, and this is being finished. I didn't yet honestly finish it because of I need the support of someone who speaks the language. So I hope I'm taking advantage today and in these days to study the morphology of the language automatically, which means how the link is aware and how the words change in that language. So if you have the rules, you put the rules in the system, and then the system takes one word, you tell the part of speech what this word is, and then it can develop for you automatically instead of putting in single hand each word. This is the encyclopedia of big lexicon that I use that Moreno, Roberta and Vergari produced. It was helpful to test because I have an electronic version, and because of it was a small number of words selected, and I tested with this and worked it in so easily without starting from zero and developing the system. I used the one that I developed for the Somali. So in short time, it worked. It worked with small changes of the rules we developed. Another way that we will be using is, for example, this system that I use to collect harvesting, I call it. So the Somali language, we identify. I know that there are few, one of them you manage, web pages or YouTube channels or Facebook pages that are more active, where people write comments, where people post this, where people passes the message. There was this red bot, which is a small robot, a program that runs at the midnight automatically and searches for the entire internet, identify if any Saho language is someone published in somewhere, so it takes and collects the entire words. So you have a long list of web pages automatically collected, and then the database, the system, this robot doesn't take the meaning but take the words. So it puts in the database, and when you have in this database, if one word is found, for example, 50 times, it thinks probably it's the Saho language. Probably. So it doesn't send everything to you to disturb, but it sends, for example, when the words have seen so many times at night. So in the morning you get all those words that has been seen in the internet within the Saho community, the pages and so on, more than 50 times. And then it sends a message in the morning when you open your computer. Those people who will be working, they will see the list of the words that have been. Initially it will start maybe 10,000 times because there are words more frequently used in your language. So it picks up, sends in the morning when you open the system the words that has been got, and you decide whether this word is correctly Saho language, or it is, for example, London, where your text you writing, when you write London, you write London, London, which is not your language, which is not the way that you write, but it's the name of the city. So you say that's a foreign language. Despite it is found Saho documents, it's not a Saho language word. So the person this time decides this word is a Saho language, and it is a verb, that category of verb, or it's a noun, so it's a feminine, it's a male in noun, and it's the category of that and that. And the system, when you get this information, the system develops all the words that's coming, flexed form of that word. That's the way that in so short time, if we work together, we can get a rich corpus for your language. So the email arrives, you accept the word, or you refuse because it's wrong. If you refuse, it goes to the garbage collector. So next time it will not disturb you, send you again. Once you have decided that this word is not your language, you put in the garbage collector. So next time you will not see it. So that's the way you collect still more data. So we started any documents, dictionaries, anything that you have. I have some electronically. I need your help that anything that you have in electronic, but also even if you send in PDF, in photo, I can still process. If you just make a photo and send. If you scan, will be the best thing. But don't worry. Any way that you can send any document written in your language will be helpful to the system. So written material. Second step, when the system stands a little bit in its own foot, then it collects from the internet other data. Still, we can start immediately to collect data, but we are going to the risk that I was saying, that the young people who are writing in internet, they write wrongly, no spelling checking, so we have to be careful what we are collecting. For example, what they have done for Ethiopian studies, they collected from the internet, and they easily collected a huge number of words, but then when has been done at the presentation at the last Ethiopian Studies Congress, we tested and like 75% of the data collected were wrong, and it has been spent a huge amount of money to develop that system. So they restarted using the human correction instead of completely putting an automatic system. So how we can identify, this is the way that we did for the Somali, and I want to do, some of them has been already done for Saho. What we need is to identify the right contents that I was saying. So for the Somali, we call it people who write well Somali, instead of just getting every text in order to build the database. And then the second stage, we took everything because of the basis correctly, check it, so it will not disturb the system if garbage comes in, because the system filters itself. And then we balance it. We wanted to speak to young people, so we get the slang of the young generation, but also elder generation, because of things change. And I will do an example, then I will stop and come back to maybe to stop a moment and have some questions. For example, the Somali word Layli, L-A-Y-L-I, is today, if you ask Layli, the young people will understand exercise, because that's the meaning of exercise in textbooks. If you ask my generation, Layli is taming the young camels, so preparing the young camels to behave. So that was the meaning. In 1972, when the Somali was introduced as a medium of instruction in the schools, the original word of taming camels and preparing them, or training if you want, has been used as an exercise, which is the same meaning. But the young people do not know that this word came from another word, the same word, but another meaning. So the corpus, if it is built well, you can understand also how in the time and the era the word changed the meaning. So you will see texts and poets and in last century using one word in one way, and today young people are using completely in a different way. So in order to get the good representativeness, you need to focus and give an opportunity the different style of languages and slang that people are using. Otherwise, we will be creating Saho language of 200 years ago, and probably young people today wouldn't capture the meaning that they want. So we want to balance. I will stop here, and then you will pass the question, and then I will show you how, for example, the Somali works. Although you will not read the Somali, but just the components, and then I will show you some also the Saho language for the questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Jama. أقعد بسكتينيكا كادو تعيّر ما نبعيّو لكني لكن له ومن نوكو عند ثيام هذا نباتيا نوكو جبتها قال فردشين تاني نوكر حسوجم إن كوتا أنت نكتبهم ولا كادو حيوتي سيلة اللتو ما شاء الله عرنا عسيلة يلي كو يحفظوه ترحيل تكتبنكو تهلني بلو سجل روبت برهلا إيه يحضر إنترنت اللي تمام تديك نباهم معنا يسكت معنا صراحة ما اديتها مع سيستم اديتو أما كتا يماعو وربكيت كنكو مثلا فريقنا كياهو قال مثلا في العون كان كده يشتغلين النيونكو دحين إيميل كولاميته تعنكر معاه ثاني وماته مثلا يميتين يرحتيا مثلا وماتي كنكتبه تمام يميتين هذا إيه كنتام فأنا تمام ماتي كنكتبه النيونكو ما صارت عنكر كنيك تجاه كتبول تنترحيا كتب تسحب معنا ما كنا نقول حسيتهم كادو نكتبهم إن كنت كتكلم بخاي كيكو إنكي ولي وكالة ما كتما إنترنت كان اللي تانم ساهو تنكتبهم إن كنت ما خزنا السيتوكين أكيد النهر هنا نكتبه هنا أنا بليكين هنا نقول حسيتهم مانجوم كادو سينكو أتمعكم تفهمين إنكو صار بعتين إنكو بس كل رد حيك أما هنياكم إن شاء الله أبي شلون إحنا واتكلنا لكن صراحة رعتمني بالله وكنا مثلا أسرت اللي منكم مبروت اللي منكم أبي سكتين من ده دريك ديك.
First, I want to thank Dr. Jama for this beautiful presentation, and I really want to thank you for giving all your time for the language that is near to Somali. Of course, Saho is all the same Cushitic language. Yeah, we can have many questions, but the main one that for now that I want to ask is that, okay, we are collecting the words as much as possible. So is the Google, how it works, is there any threshold of words they want, or we are trying to increase the words just to make the meaning more accurate as possible? So which one is the thing? So the number of words, is it helping us to reach some definite threshold of Google, or just for accuracy? So where is the...
I think it's a very valid question. There is no minimum, but there is no also a maximum that you stop. There is no minimum because of more than Google, they developed these methods. Unfortunately, we have no secret. Like it's a big brother. Google is collecting everything without our permission. Whenever you send a message, many of you are using Google, Gmail. If you are not using Gmail, you are using the interface of Gmail for your email. Suppose that you have jama@bersionline.org, which is my email, my system. But in order to use to access, I am accessing through Google my email. So there is no any more secret of what we are doing. So we are observed. I don't know how many of you read 1984. George Orwell's Big Brother
watching you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are watching of what we are doing. So what these algorithms, these methods, what they do, if they feel that there is a demand for Saho, although we have a small number of words collected,
they don't know.
They said there is a market there. You have to go back again. Okay, they are not doing any favor for us, but they are looking for, how many advertisements, unwanted advertisements you get when you are using Facebook or when you are using Google or when you are navigating
YouTube.
or YouTube. Right? So they would see if there is a more frequent use of your language in internet, even if the interest first of all comes not because of we have millions of words collected in order to go, but because of the use. So the market signal is first of all. For that reason, I suggest and encourage people to use their own language when they are writing, when they are talking to their community. Once captured that, then they will look for. So if the corpus contains 200,000 words, they will take equally, because if they see the market, and then they put other things, like as the Somali has been recently. If you Google translate Somali, until recently, it absolutely out of context translation that has no absolutely meaning, because of the translation was basically a small amount of knowledge data. So if we have our corpus which contains 200,000, and then they take it, then the translation will be rubbish, because of the system will not be able to translate with that small number of words. So what you need is first to create the interest in the word technology in your language. So the more you use it, the better. The minimum instruments that you build, put a spelling checker and put for free. That's what I did, for example, in Somali. I developed a spelling checker called Ubo, and I put for free. So many young people download it, use it, and that click it, the Google people say, oh, no, first the Microsoft, MSN, there is a database containing a spelling checker. So let us create the interest, and it's just a publication in your language, using social media, using all those things will create the interest. But when the interest is created, you have to offer something that they take. They don't want to work and spend money to produce. They want to take work done by the others. So you put on the table what you have. Once they take it, you need to create more data for the accurateness of it. So the issue of the accurate comes later. So in my opinion, if we go with 200,000 between and 500,000 words, I'm sure good enough that they will put it down. And then you need also to campaign for, because now communities are campaigning for their language.
Yes.
So what we will do, if we arrive at 1 million words collected, for example, then we will put an appeal, and just if one of you respond to that appeal, and Google will notice, and then they will take. So I think the 3 steps that we have to do is to build the correctness for our own interest. Second, create the interest of the market to look at Saho language as an interesting language in the media, in the internet and new technology. And then the second step is campaign for it. Yeah. So I think that 3 steps in so short time we can create that interest.